All right, I changed the range and the offense variable on the counts on the basic information sheet. Any other corrections, additions, solutions?
None further for defense, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right. And sir, you pled guilty to count 1, weapons, firearms, larceny, punishable by 5 years, and count 2, weapons, firearms, possession by a prohibited person, also punishable by 5 years. You recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, on behalf of the people, is there a victim?
No, Your Honor. The victim is not present.
Thank you. And what would you like me to know?
Your Honor, as the PSI explains very clearly, the defendant was on parole at the time of this incident. And Your Honor was on parole for a larceny, which this case was, and has since picked up other cases, Your Honor, that also have resulted in firearm charges. The people are very concerned looking at the defendant's history, how almost everything seems to have to, except for his first case, has to do with some kind of felony or firearm charge, Your Honor. So the people are very concerned. This would be consecutive as he was on parole. So I do believe, based off of his criminal history regarding multiple firearm cases, as well as the fact that he was on parole, I do believe that the recommendation from probation of 23 to 60 months at the Michigan Department of Corrections on both cases would be appropriate in this matter. So I would ask that you follow that recommendation. Thank you.
So these would be concurrent but consecutive to what he's now serving.
Correct, Your Honor.
Counsel?
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, I did submit a sentencing memo on Jordan's behalf. While I'm not going to rehash the entire memo, I do want to touch on a couple of points that I think that are critical and very important. I'm going to start by telling the court that we are respectfully going to be asking the court to sentence Jordan to a term of 14 months at MDOC. I know that that is a very specific request, and I'm going to explain why we're asking that. Judge, I do acknowledge that Jordan was on parole when he committed this offense. There's no denying it. There's no excuse for that. But what I think is critical for the court to know that Jordan, at a very young age, experienced a very traumatizing event. His family was robbed at gunpoint when he was a teenager, 16 years old, including his mom, Jordan, and his younger siblings. Jordan was forced to the ground with a gun put to the back of his head. He did not want to testify. They did eventually get the perpetrators, and he refused to testify. I know I received documentation of several subpoenas, detectives and that reaching out to him, reaching out to mom. Eventually, he was forced to testify. The defendant was convicted. I believe Your Honor was a sitting judge for that case. I did submit some paperwork showing that. Jordan was traumatized. The defendant's family threatened him. He became afraid to leave his house. He had a gun pulled on him. He eventually dropped out of high school out of fear of not leaving the house. And then he began hanging with the wrong crowd. Your Honor knows the impact that can have on a young person. Your Honor, he began carrying firearms to feel protected himself because he felt that he did not have protection. Additionally, back in September of 2022, 12 days before he was incarcerated in DOC, 12 days before he was to be released, his ex-wife was murdered in Jackson County. The case was moved here and then eventually moved back. But yeah, so he has also experienced that. Judge, we know what a traumatic event can do to a young person, especially a teenager, especially when that teenager does not receive the necessary counseling and therapy that is so badly needed to repair the damage that is done. And I do believe that that is a missing part for Jordan. Your Honor, once Jordan's mother realized that he was on the wrong track, she immediately reached out, and she is present in the courtroom. She immediately reached out, and I also included several emails of that with his memorandum, but she was reaching out to the victim's advocate and to detectives, and the services that she was seeking, I think, were more in line with a person that's on probation, so they really didn't have any services for him. She couldn't afford any counseling independent herself, so Jordan did what most young people would do. He just learned to cope. He learned to cope, and unfortunately, his learning and coping was at the experience of him hanging out with this wrong crowd. Judge, I am in no way trying to make excuses for Jordan. I'm not trying to downplay his conduct that brings him before this court. Instead, this is a plea to this court to fashion a sentence that takes into account the events that played a major role in leading our Jordan here and hold him accountable for his conduct, but a sentence that also allows him the opportunity to seek restorative services sooner rather than later. And Judge, I believe that that is a missing piece for Jordan in his rehabilitation. Judge, prison is mainly about deterrence, punishment deterrence, but it is rarely about rehabilitation. For instance, you can send someone to prison over and over again, but without addressing the underlying issues, the why, that person is more likely than not will get out and repeat and end up right back in prison. And I do concede some people will never be fixed, whether they go to prison or not. I do believe that Jordan has the potential to be rehabilitated for the following reasons. He is still a very young man. He is still learning. He is open to learning. He has earned his GED. Since being lodged in Ingham County Jail, he has completed anger management, cognitive behavior thinking, CBT. He is currently enrolled in CATS. He is also working with the mental health services over at the Ingham County Jail with the Seeking Safety program for his PTSD. Judge, the PSI updated report also supports the fact that he can be rehabilitated. The agent stated that this is the only violation that he has incurred while on this term. The agent also states that prior to this new offense, he had a stable living situation. He has had extended periods of employment, and Jordan himself had inquired on his own about joining the Walk a Mile mentoring program. He reached out trying to get a mentor, and I think that speaks volumes. Judge, these are all indicators of someone having the ability to be rehabilitated. Most important, someone wanting to be rehabilitated. Someone wanting to live a productive life. Your Honor, a while back, I had a very candid talk with Jordan. I explained to him that he has to start working on himself now. That's when he started enlisting in all these programs in Ingham County Jail. And I will say, without disclosing too much because of attorney-client privilege, he randomly sent me an email through Smart Communications just about a month ago. And he's just like, Ms. James, I really feel that this is benefiting me. Thank you for pushing me to do this. I never thought counseling would work for me. And I thought that was huge. But again, back to the PSI in supporting that, you know, Judge, I've explained to him, you can't waste any more time. He needs to do everything in his power to heal. And I do think that he needs to heal. Or in the alternative, he is on a very fast track to a very long time in prison. I've made that clear to him. He has a wife that is counting on him that's here today. He has a 5-year-old daughter counting on him. His mother is counting on him. His mother and wife have been so instrumental in trying to get him help and services that I already have explained to them, and then had them initiate services for when he is released. Whenever it is, healing is going to be a continuation for him. I told him it's not about taking a class and stopping. This may be something that you have to do lifelong. But if you put in the work and do the work, it will help. He will heal. So today, Judge, I am respectfully asking Your Honor to sentence him to a term of 14 months at MDOC. The 14 months, Judge, comes from the specific fact that Artist's agent has indicated anything over 13 months, they won't flop him. He'll be in a new prefix, and they will allow him to serve prefix. And they will allow him to serve the sentence that Your Honor sets, and they won't flop him on the remaining sentence. And again, Judge, that is a respectful request. I do want to emphasize that I think that that number is well within the guideline range. I don't think that it's unreasonable. Additionally, Your Honor, just to add, and you know, this underlying case that he pled to, when we subbed in, we did some preliminary investigations, and Jordan was at a campground playing basketball. He went there often. The victim was there. He didn't know the victim. He stole a firearm out of the victim's backpack. But our preliminary investigation, there were some statements that this victim would often brandish this firearm and talk smack on the basketball court. I'm not saying it's true, I'm not saying it's not true, but a person is well documented in the PSI and the police report. The victim did not know him at all. They didn't know each other. So how does he have knowledge that there's a firearm even in this backpack? So I just wanted to put that out there again, Judge. When he committed this offense, he was 6 weeks away from being successfully released from parole. That, Judge, to me is a cry for help. I firmly believe that all things considered, 14 months is a fair number, a number that holds him accountable, gives him some prison time, a number that allows him the opportunity to continue treatment at MDOC, but also the opportunity to get out and begin counseling with his family and address any underlying issues and work toward rehabilitation sooner rather than later. Judge, other than that, I will rely on what was submitted in my memorandum unless you have any questions for me.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I have a question, I guess, for both of you. Is there any restitution that is due?
There is not.
Okay,
Correct, Your Honor, we're not requesting any.
thank you. Is a victim in regard to the firearm?
No, Your Honor.
Sir, what would you like me to know?
I would like to apologize to the court, but also to my family for my actions. I understand that they not only are affecting me, but them as well. I wanna really just take full responsibility for my actions, and I've been trying to put myself in programs and stuff that'll help me, you know, be better at thinking and help me through the situations when I'm feeling a certain way and stuff, and better thinking for myself.
So, am I understanding that these firearms, that you feel more comfortable with the firearm because of what happened to you and your family?
At a point I did.
But you understand you need to dial 911. Guns don't make things safer. They make things worse. But yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So what didn't you learn from your prior crimes? I mean, you have attempted larceny in a building that you pled to. And you have firearms discharged from a vehicle causing injury. And the first one was in 2015, the next one in 2016. And then there are other weapons charges. But you and your family at gunpoint were threatened, but now you've done that to other people. Why?
I was just caught up hanging in the wrong crowd, trying to be someone that I wasn't, trying to portray an image that really isn't me.
Well, you didn't like the image of that guy who put the gun in your family's face, right?
Not at all.
So you decided to be that guy? Do you understand that's what happened?
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you want to do with your life?
I wanna
10
be-
years down the road, you're a free man. What have you done? What am I going to see?
I'm gonna be a pro-social person. I'm gonna be a good husband and father, and I'm gonna be a family man and doing everything that I need to do to be productive. And
Well, what do you need to do to be productive? You need to get a job or career. What do you see yourself doing?
I see myself. I have my plumbing license, so I want to pursue my plumbers, like the plumbers union or something like that.
You know, people with plumbing and all the other trades, they're the next millionaires in the world. I don't understand why you need a gun. A gun doesn't make you more powerful. It weakens you. You're in that jumpsuit because of it. All right. I was gonna do much worse, and I do mean much worse. But I am compelled to do something in between. As to count 1 and count 2, you will serve 16 months to 60 months. You have 0 days served because of the parole issue. Counts 1 and 2 will be concurrent but consecutive to the sentence you're now serving. How long is that sentence?
Your Honor, I believe that he's not on a sentence, he's on a hold, and they're not gonna flop him if he's sentenced over 13 months. So I believe that he will be eligible after the 16
If
months.
they change their mind, who knows what they do?
Exactly,
It
totally.
will be consecutive to that. While you're incarcerated, you will complete your GED.
He has done that, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's already done.
Yeah, he's finished
You'll
that.
attend any trade school available. You will be treated for trauma, grief. And I want you to see medical for anxiety. Have you ever taken anxiety medication?
No.
Well, you ought to maybe investigate that.
He did, Your Honor, in 2013, began taking medication for ADHD, which is very close in alignment with that. I don't know if he's continuing taking that, but he was treated, and it's in the PSI.
Okay, so ADHD, I don't know if you need that or not. I have a son with ADHD, and when he didn't like taking the medicine, now he likes taking the medicine because he's older and feels the difference. But the ADHD medicines are separate from the anxiety medicines. And the anxiety medicines, and I'm not a doctor, but I also have a kid that has some anxiety from an accident she was in. And so they have just buckets of different options for that. And perhaps instead of looking for guns, you can look for doctors who are appropriate to treat you. It is a sign of strength to ask for help, to get treated, to take the medicine, to reach out. Your family's here to just say, I need to sit with you. I need you to take me to the doctor, rather than finding a gun or stealing a gun. The only thing a gun is gonna find for you is either a body bag or prison. There's no middle road. Number one killer of children is guns. We have to stop the cycle. If you need help, call 911. I don't know what trade schools they offer, but you've got already a trade, but maybe you want to pursue another one. Not gonna hurt you any. Is there anything else aside from the costs that I didn't address? You have to pay $130 crime victims and a $68 state cost on each count. And so those monies, the costs will be paid, state costs of the crime victims will be due 12 months after your release. Understood?
Yes,
You have 42 days to appeal and to request appellate counsel.
thank you.
Someday you come back and show me the great things you are doing. You're certainly capable, but you have to do that. You have to make up your mind that you're worthy of doing great things, that you were born to do great things, and then do them. And don't let anybody bring you down with weapons, bad behaviors, drugs, whatever it is that they want to do. That's just, they want you to participate in their bad behavior. So you keep rising above. I don't have very many moms that come here. Yours is here. So honor your family, your community, and yourself. Acknowledge receiving your appellate rights. You have 42 days to appeal and to request appellate counsel.
Where's your cover?
He's 0 because it was parole.
Right up here. Like right there.
Counsel, we put them there.
That's the advice rights.
Oh, we need the appellate rights.
Go to the next page, because it should be right there.
Did we not? Did they? Out of the appellate rights, you can't be.
They just have.
These are all
No,
appellate rights.
Your friend didn't copy him like he was supposed to.
I don't know where it has the rights.
He's on perfect, sorry. You acknowledge receiving your appellate rights. You have 42 days to appeal and to request appellate counsel.
Do you acknowledge receipt in your hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Your Honor, can we approach briefly?
Sure.
Yeah. I actually.
Two hearings, two young men, two judges' speeches that most courtrooms never hear, because most judges never say them out loud. Jordan Artist stood before the court carrying something that should have made him sympathetic: a documented, verifiable trauma. At 16 years old, he was forced to the floor at gunpoint in his own home. He was subpoenaed against his will to testify. He was threatened. He dropped out of school. He carried a firearm because he felt the law had not protected him and might not again. None of that is invented. None of it is exaggerated. But the judge did not let it end there, because Jordan Artist had also discharged a firearm from a vehicle and caused injury. He had stolen a gun from a stranger's backpack. He had, by his own admission, become something he once feared. And the judge asked him directly, "You didn't like the image of that guy who put the gun in your family's face. You decided to be that guy." And he had no real answer for that, because there is no good one. Then there was Dion Cheney, who skipped his sentencing because his father was fatally shot in Ohio. He came to court days later, still visibly carrying it. And a judge who had recently buried both of her parents looked at him and said, "Your dad's standing right next to you. Honor him by living the life he wanted for you." Neither of these hearings ended with a long sentence or a dramatic verdict. What they ended with was something rarer. A judge who refused to process a human being, like a case number, and chose to speak to the person standing in front of her instead. The outcome for Jordan Artist, 16 to 60 months, 8 consecutive to his current sentence. For Dion Cheney, bond reinstated, grief counseling ordered, sentencing rescheduled. If you found this case as eye-opening as we did, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more real courtroom breakdowns, because justice never gets old.